Welcome back. I'm delighted to be joined by UKIP's leader, Paul Nuttall. Paul, your colleague Suzanne Evans said that Theresa May must bear some responsibility for that terrible atrocity. Do you agree with that?
Well, look, I wouldn't personally blame Theresa May. What I will say is I think the cuts to the police budget, the cuts to the armed forces, the cuts to the border force, the cuts to the prison service have all been a big mistake, and I don't think they've helped.
But, I mean, you've called for a massive increase, I think, in the numbers of police and security services. You're supposed to be, though, a party that believes in freedom. It sounds like you want a police state.
Well, actually, we're only going back to where we were in 2009. There's been 20,000 police officers cut since then, and what we want to do is to put another 20,000 back on the streets, because, you know, if people in communities are going to talk about things which are going wrong, or if they have suspicions about people, they're more likely to air those suspicions with the local Bobby on the beat who they already know.
I mean, you talk about a failure in your manifesto to integrate Muslims, but how can you expect the Muslim community to feel more enthusiastic about integrating if you say things like ban the burqa and then come up with a sort of spurious public health reason? Like, you know, it's going to be good for their bit of...
I mean, hang on, do you know what? There is a myriad of medical research which shows that if you don't show your face or the rest of your body to the sun, there will be vitamin D deficiencies.
But
however,
that's not why you want to ban the burqa.
No, but that's peripheral. What we're talking about is banning face coverings, so whether that's the niqab or the burqa, or indeed people turning up at an EDL protest or an EDL march or something like that, you've just got to be prepared to show your face, because the security reasons here, because whether we like it or not, we're the most watched people in the world. There's more CCTV per head in this country than anywhere else on the planet, and for CCTV to be effective, you need to see people's faces.
But then surely you should be banned from wearing any kind of a mask in public, whatever your ethnicity or background.
Yeah,
so why aren't you saying all masks should be banned?
I've just said it now.
Not in your manifesto, though. You're singling out Muslims.
I would ban face coverings in public, just as they've done in France, just as they've done in Bulgaria, just as they've done in Belgium.
So at carnivals, for example, people should be able to wear masks at carnivals?
No, there's special dispensations for carnivals and things like that, but if it's a protest or a march, whether that's the far right
or a balaclava in winter.
How many people have you seen wearing a balaclava on British streets in the winter? I've never seen it in my life.
Well, if you've never seen it, then ban it.
Look, do you know, I work in Belgium, I work in France. You walk around the streets, you see everyone's face. It works there, it can work here too.
Now, you want to reduce immigration to zero on a net basis. You've got a one-in, one-out policy. I haven't found a single economist who thinks that would do anything but end any prospect of growth and rising prosperity here.
Well, do you know, we've got to do something about the population. At the moment, we're allowing in a city the size of Hull. The immigration figures came out last week. It's unsustainable. So, for example, we're having to build a house every 7 minutes simply to keep up with the immigration figures. And if we continue on this road, we'll end up with a population of 80 million by the middle of this century.
But you're not denying that there is going to be economic costs.
Well, that is debatable. You're probably talking about the Office of Budget Responsibility report, and that
that's part of it. But I'm just talking about any credible economist.
I mean, they clearly admit in that report they're not taking into account population growth, so they're not taking into account capital costs in the future. There'll have to be more roads, more railways. The NHS will be bursting; they're almost full to capacity. A new school building programme. We've got to get hold of population in this country, because if we don't, we're in serious trouble.
Now, on Brexit, you are saying we should hand over no money to Brussels and the rest of the EU on leaving. There's absolutely no chance, therefore, of a free trade deal with the rest of the European Union on that basis. I mean, which is, again, another example of economic self-harm.
Well, we don't know that, do we? I mean, firstly, in terms of the divorce bill, we've paid in membership fee alone net, 183 billion since the beginning of the 70s. And as for the free trade deal, look, in many ways, the EU needs us more than we need it. There's a huge trading deficit. 800,000 German cars, for example, were sold in this country last year. I think it's 39 million bottles of champagne. We're their biggest marketplace. They need us. There'll be that free trade deal.
I mean, the reason you've gone more extreme in your policies is simply because you know that vast numbers of your supporters are going to vote for Theresa May.
Well, it's easy at the moment because Theresa May is able to talk the talk without having to walk the walk. Walking the walk, if she's elected as Prime Minister, will begin later in June. And I fear that she'll begin to barter things away. I think fisheries could go. Again, I think that there will be a deal over the divorce bill. I think there may be a deal over freedom of movement, and that isn't what people voted for on June the 23rd last year. If people want to keep this Brexit clean, you go out and you vote for the real deal, and that's UKIP.
Very nice to see you, Paul Nuttall. We'll pick up with you again, I'm sure, in the future. Let's